Hey guys, happy Thursday. I know I'm a few minutes late, but I had little things to do this morning, and so I was wrapping that up before I could jump on here. But I'm here, and we're gonna get started on this week's episode of Bless This Nest. As you guys know, if you're following along, this month we are doing the Home Seller Bootcamp. Changed my sign out, so it's corrected now. We're gonna be talking about today. We're going to be talking about pre-packing and cleaning. If you hadn't joined us in the last two episodes or shows or lives that I previously posted this month in the month of June, you can always go back and watch those. In week one, we talked more about kind of the timeline of what it looks like if you are thinking about buying or selling a house in the next, 6 months or whatever it is, kind of that timeline of what I suggest you do during that time. Just to kind of prepare yourselves as much as possible before we were to list the property. In week two, we talked about staging your home, so kind of give you some staging tips. I thought that was a great video, even if you weren't thinking about selling your home, but you're wanting some tips on how to stage your home or redecorate your home or anything like that. So you can always go back and watch those two videos. But like I said, today's topic is all about pre-packing and cleaning. So really exciting topic, right? But no, really, it's so important that you pre-pack and clean. And we're gonna talk a little bit about why that is. But for those that don't know me, I'm Mariana Pearson. I own Modernist Real Estate Group. We are a real estate team out of DFW. We're powered by Keller Williams Central. I've been in business for about 7 years now. It's almost been 7 years, and so, which is crazy. And I decided to do this Bless This Nest video live series just to kind of give you guys as much information as possible. I think it's so important that my clients are educated along the way, but the biggest thing is that you're educated even before the process begins, because I think it really helps with like anxiety levels, and you're more prepared, you know what to expect, and or at least have an idea of what to expect. And so that's why I started off this video series with last month we did the first time home buyer boot camp. So if you're a first time home buyer, you can always go back to the month of May. All those videos were about first time home buyers. And then this month we're doing a seller boot camp, which is really just a boot camp or this video series to help prepare you if you are looking to sell a home. Again, either in the next 3 months, 6 months, a year from now, 2 years from now. I think the best thing that an agent can do for their clients is just to educate them. So that's why I want to make sure you guys are educated as much as possible and have all the information before you even start the selling process. So if you again, haven't been following along and you are a part or wanting to know more information on the Seller Bootcamp, you can always go back to the last two episodes or just message me. I'm happy to kind of get you caught up. We also have a freebie guide, so I put that in the comments or the post itself. So if you want to sign up to get that freebie guide, it's going to go over everything that we talk about today. It's got questions to ask a real estate agent, checklist items, it's got that timeline we talked about. So really that freebie guideline or e-guide is definitely going to be everything we talk about this month all wrapped into a guide. So let's talk about pre-packing and exactly what pre-packing means, why it's important, and how it can really not only double the size of your house, but it can also help when it comes to the value of your home. Because I think we can all agree that most sellers just want to get the most value of their home when they do list it. And so something as simple as pre-packing and cleaning are going to make a huge difference when it comes to putting your house on the market. So that's why I wanted to spend a whole video and today just talking about those things. So again, if you haven't seen the first two videos, you can always go back. Today is all about pre-packing. So let's start about pre-packing 101. So this is, I'm gonna start using the term pre-packing instead of the word declutter. When I would go on my listing appointments, I would always say we need to declutter and depersonalize, which you do. But instead of decluttering, I realized really what people need to do is pre-pack. If you're planning on listing your home, you're eventually going to be moving anyways. So pre-packing anything that you can ahead of time saves you not only some time when you go under contract to be able to not have as much to pack at that time, but you're going to be moving anyways and putting things into boxes anyways, that it doesn't hurt to go ahead and start pre-packing. So let's talk about some tips on pre-packing that can help you guys. And if you guys have questions, I see some people popping on, feel free to ask those along the way. If you have any tips too, I'm always open to tips. These are just some things that I give my sellers tips on and wanted to share with you guys. But if you guys have any pre-packing tips that I, am not mentioning, please feel free to share those with everyone as well. So the first thing I always suggest is to stock up on some storage bins. I love myself some storage bins. So this helps you when you're going through your closets, emptying out everything. I always say try to, in your closets and pantries and any of the storage places, empty out half of what is in there. Most likely, there's things like in your closet that you're not even going to need during the time that we list your home. For example, if we're selling during the summer months, of course, you're not going to need, hopefully, winter clothes unless you live like in Texas where we're at. One week it's freezing, the next week it's cold or warm. But you just want to go ahead and pack away anything that you don't need. Rule of thumb is try to stick to half of what you have. The reason that we talk about this is it's really going to allow buyers to picture their own things in the home, and it's not going to make those closets and pantries and everything else feel as crowded. So the first thing is going through the closets and emptying out half of anything that you currently have. So shoes, jackets, whatever you don't need. Again, if it's off season, you don't need it at that time, so go ahead and pre-pack it. The next thing you're going to tackle are your kitchen countertops, your cabinets, your pantry, like I already mentioned. If these things are already currently jammed pack, then you need to go ahead and remove anything that you're not using daily. So if you don't need, those 13 casserole dishes, go ahead and pack those away. Keep one of them in case you decide to make a casserole or something like that. But the other 13 that you have or 12 that you have, go ahead and pack those away. You're going to have to pack them eventually, so might as well be now. And really the key thing is to just pack up a majority of the things that are in these cabinets. Even though I think a lot of people tend to think like in closets and in cabinets, they can just, whatever's out, just start throwing and jamming things into the cabinets and into the closets and making it a mess. So a lot of times when I walk through houses, I'll open up a closet and it's just like it's literally like the Monica closet. If you're a Friends fan, you know what I'm talking about when she opened, or Chandler opens the closet and it literally is packed full of stuff, and so it's junked. So a lot of times I go through homes and we see that, and even though, yes, I'd rather, I guess, it be in that closet than out, a lot of times what happens is when a buyer opens that up, they think, oh my gosh, there's not a ton of space, because they're thinking that if you're using all the space up, there's not as much space. And so, they also kind of focus on those things versus the actual things that they should be focusing in on the house. So we do still want to focus on closets and cabinets for that reason, just kind of decluttering as much as possible, especially like even for cabinets in the kitchen. If you don't have a ton of cabinets, first of all, in a kitchen, the last thing we want to do is pack those cabinets up with a bunch of stuff. Because if a buyer is walking through a house and they're already seeing there aren't a ton of cabinets in the home or in the kitchen, they're going to start questioning that. And as they're opening the cabinets up, because yes, they open up the cabinets stay, so they want to check them out, and they see that they're packed full, their mind immediately goes to, oh my gosh, there's definitely not enough cabinets. Look how much stuff they have to pack into a cabinet. So we really want to try to declutter and get rid of, or not get rid of, but pre-pack as much of what you're not going to use as possible. Again, going back to maybe that rule of thumb of half the stuff that you have. So any small appliances as well on the kitchen countertops, those can either be tucked under if you plan on using them in the next few months from when your house is listed. Otherwise, go ahead and pre-pack them. So the storage bins are super helpful because you can organize those bins into categories. So kitchen, bedroom, bathroom. So what you're doing is you're using the storage bins as more of like a packing box, but a place for you to organize that stuff. So also when you go to move, you know where all those things are. So again, just removing any appliances like the blenders, toasters. You can go ahead and place any of those that you do need into cabinets. That's not a problem. Just try not to overpack any of those cabinets like I mentioned. And again, that goal is really just for buyers to be able to see how much space that you actually have in the home and really envision their lives as organized too. So if they come in and they see a mess, you know, they may think, oh my gosh, my house is gonna be a mess as well. But if they open it up and it's organized, they're gonna go, oh my gosh, like there's potential for me to be organized, and they can picture themselves in their lives being organized as well if they were to buy the house. So we just don't want anything to be too jammed packed, right? All right, when it comes to home decor, so knickknacks that are laying around, you know, other accessories, anything like that, try to pre-pack anything that is smaller than a baseball. That's what I always tell my sellers. Anything smaller than baseball is about this big, anything smaller than that really isn't going to be, not that it's not aesthetically pleasing depending on what it is, but if you were in my staging, or if you did my staging video, watch that video last week, what I talked about is having bigger things really help not only make the room look bigger, but it just fills up more space. So anything knick-knacky, like for example, like something like this, I mean, this is, I think, kind of clean and looks okay, but let's say I had tons of little knickknacks here as well on this top shelf, it's not necessary. So this is already decorated enough to where you don't need all the little tiny things that are going to be on top as well. So anything smaller than a baseball, go ahead and put it into a storage bin, pack it away. You can leave some stuff out for like a decorative table or coffee table or anything like that, you know, a candle, plants, anything like that. But all the other little knick-knacky hobby type stuff, go ahead and pack those away because, well, you don't need them, right? We don't need to be using any of those knickknacks or anything like that during the time that your house is listed, and it really, again, just kind of clutters up the house a little bit, sorry. And we just don't want too much stuff. Like the more stuff there is, the more that buyers are looking at the stuff versus the house. And so it's just really important that they're focusing on the house. You have the main parts of decor in the home, and they're not just focusing on stuff. So keep that in mind. All right, now for bathrooms. You wanna first go through anything like your makeup, toiletries, hair products, skincare, anything you have like that. And first of all, anything that's expired product, go ahead and just throw it away, right? Again, this is a great opportunity for you to, when you're pre-packing, to help make the process of moving a lot smoother. So by the time you go into your next home, you kind of already eliminated a lot of things that you don't need or want to move into the next home. So anything that's expired, like your makeup, hair products, all that, go ahead and just throw it away. The next thing that you're gonna do from there is pack up anything that you're not using daily. So if you're, you know, for example, I've got some hair products that I may only use a couple times a year if I'm like really going out or something like that. So anything that you have that you don't plan on using again in that next 3 months, or that time period from the time you start packing until you think the home is gonna be sold, go ahead and pack it up. Doesn't hurt to at least get it packed. Or throw out anything that you don't need. So just a little tip here, you can always go and buy some smaller bins. So I was talking about storage bins, but buy some smaller storage bins from like Target or something like that. These are also great to have to store like Band-Aids, cleaning products, anything that's smaller. And it also helps with like, so they don't spill or things like that in the big boxes. So take that from my own experience, because yeah, it happens. And this way really your cabinets stay organized. So even if it is something that you do need, that you want to keep in the cabinets because you do use it, go ahead and just put it into a storage bin of some sort, so it at least stays you know, aesthetically pleasing or looks pretty. Hide some of those things, and that way it again doesn't look as cluttered. All right, so let's talk about keeping the pre-packed items organized. So here's a tip just for you guys, just to help out if you're like me and OCD about packing and making sure you know where things are when you are packing and try to make a big move. I already kind of mentioned this, but you can pick up some labels, colored labels or any other kind of labels that you want, and color code the bins that I just mentioned, or the storage bins that I just talked about, or put some sort of label on them. So obviously like a box, a moving box, you can normally like just Sharpie on it and just put, you know, exactly what it is. But those labels, those colored labels, are really gonna help when it comes to pre-packing, because then you can start either labeling stuff to let them know, okay, this needs to go into the kitchen box, this needs to go into the blue box, for, you know, the bedroom or whatever it is. And then color code those boxes. So again, you know where everything's at. So by the time you go move in 2 or 3 months, you have everything already pre-organized and can put it right into the new room of the new house and unpack it from there. So for example, you could do like yellow would be your kitchen, blue would be the bathroom, white would be for the bedrooms, red would be for the living rooms, that kind of thing. So and when it comes to packing up the rest of your stuff, so the reason I also said that is, so this is just a pre-pack, but once it comes time that you're gonna have to pack up everything because you're getting ready to move, this just also helps you know where everything is at. So when you're packing up the rest of your things, you can always go in and grab the red, you know, labeled box, which is for your living room, and start putting the rest of the living room things in there if there's enough room. So just a little tip for you guys. All right, that is it on pre-packing. Now let's talk about deep cleaning. I'm not talking about a daily clean. Hopefully we all are doing like our daily cleans and things like that. But a deep clean before listing the home is literally like 9.9 out of 10 of my clients, something I tell them that they have to do. Like it's like a must-do thing in order for us to list the home and to be able to really just let the home shine as much as possible. So most houses really need a deep clean, especially if you've lived in the home for more than 5 years and you haven't done any kind of deep clean, which it's okay that you haven't. I'm sure your home is still clean, but there's things that you may not be thinking about that a buyer is going to walk through and they're going to notice these things. Things such as the baseboards, the ceiling fans, things like that. So we want to make sure that we're doing a deep clean, and it really is one of those things that I think is one of the most inexpensive things you can do that makes the biggest difference when it comes to listing a home. So here's some tips on deep cleaning if you want to know them. So the first is to wash your windows. Remove the screens, replace any of the torn ones, any of the torn screens if it's needed. This is something even the inspector is going to bring up if he notices there's any torn screens. So you might as well go ahead and replace those. Cleaning the windows, I know for us, like we don't clean our windows regularly. I don't know if most people do and we're just weird, but we don't. And so it is something that is really great when it comes to a deep clean, because even though it may be dirty and it's something that I think when you are living in a house long enough, like you don't start to see certain things that, you know, are in your house. You kind of get blinders on, or it just becomes part of your daily scenery. So you don't notice that it's actually as dirty as it is. But when a new buyer walks into your home for the very first time, it sometimes is the very first thing that they notice. Like, wow, these windows are dirty. And it's like, okay, yes, they're dirty. They could just be cleaned, but we'll talk about why it's important to do this deep clean here in a minute. The second thing is, second tip is to clean the glass on like your fireplace or any other spaces that might have fingerprints. So mirrors, your microwave, any other glass spots. So again, these aren't typically something that we think about when we're cleaning the home. So just keeping those in mind as part of a deep clean. The third thing is dusting your baseboards, your fan blades, blinds above the cabinets, bookshelves that are hard to reach areas. So anything that you're not used to seeing, like above the lighting, fan blades. We don't look at those every day, but you want to go ahead and keep them clean, or go ahead and clean them as part of your deep clean. Again, it's something that buyers are going to be looking at because they're looking at like the light fixtures to see what kind of fixtures there are. They're looking at the baseboards to see what kind of baseboards there are. So making sure we're paying attention to these items as well. All right, number 4 is cleaning the carpets and washing the floors. So this is obviously a huge one. And when I talk about cleaning carpets, I mean shampooing them as well. I think it really helps, especially if the carpet is kind of worn, where if you not only are vacuuming them and just trying to freshening up that way, even if there are no like prominent stains or anything like that that you can notice, a good shampooed carpet really just helps, like not only like kind of like fluffs it out almost, but it just really like freshens it up. It makes it smell good. It makes it look as clean as possible. So if you don't plan to replace The carpets, before listing the home, I definitely always recommend that you at least do some sort of shampooing to the carpet, especially if like dogs or kids or anything like that. We know that more spills get, made. Dogs' hair is everywhere. My cat's hair is everywhere. So just doing a good shampoo clean really helps as well. And then the last thing I have on here is to wipe down cabinets, doors, appliances, refrigerator shelves. Even though if the refrigerator is not actually going to stay with the sale of the home, still wiping those down, because buyers do open up the refrigerator sometimes. And anything that's on the island or the snack bar, where you might be leaving your shoes, things like that. The reason I bring this up with cabinets and doors is a lot of people don't think about not only how often we touch those things, but you just don't normally like clean them. Doorknobs and light switches. Oh, I should have had light switches on here. Light switches are really huge, so you touch those things a lot. So just kind of cleaning them, not only for like sanitary reasons, which we're dealing a lot with right now, right? But just kind of helping buyers. Again, this is something that they're going to be touching, so they're going to be looking at it. And again, you may not see the dirt, or you may not see there's a little bit of, whatever on the light switch, but those are things that they're gonna see. So just keep those in mind and part of your deep cleaning. So the reason I wanted to talk so much about deep cleaning a home and why it's so important is cleaning really just shows how well cared for a home is. And buyers are going to wonder, if you haven't cleaned your home or anything like that, what else have you not been taking care of that could be an even bigger thing. So a well cared for home means a clean home. It really makes a big difference. Even if your home doesn't have the updates that other homes have, a lot of times, as long as a buyer can walk in and it feels well cared for and clean, they're more likely to say, you know what, I can deal with the fact that I may need to update the kitchen countertops, because I can just tell this was a well cared for home. It's got, I hate to use the word good bones, but it's got good bones. It was cared for, and it's all because of that deep clean that they're getting that sense of knowledge or whatever, that they're getting that sense that you are caring for the home. So, all right, so that is everything on deep cleaning, as exciting as that can be, right? Here's a little bonus idea for you guys though. If you're like me and you're like a lot of my sellers, a deep clean like I do with my daily clean and things like that. But kind of a bonus idea is go ahead and just invest in a cleaning service for this deep clean. I mean, this is only going to cost you maybe anywhere from like $150 to $50. Like I said, I think it's the most inexpensive thing that you can do that makes the biggest difference. And if you guys are in the DFW area and you plan to list with us, I have an amazing house cleaner or house cleaner that will come out and just really deep clean it. I had her recently after quarantine come and do our house, and she's probably the only one. I'm super like nitpicky on a lot of clean things, and she's the only one that when she leaves, I feel like I don't have to, follow up behind her to clean up something. So she gets into places that I didn't even think or realize that house cleaners would actually touch, and so she's well worth it, not very expensive. And if you guys have listed a home with me and I've recommended Addie to you guys, like you probably already know, and you could probably like tell me like, yes, like she's amazing. I've had so many people after they clean their house go, oh, wow, it's never been this clean. It makes a huge difference before listing a home. And so I always try to do that like literally the week of, before we actually go live on the market, right before photos. That's like the last thing that I want done is for the home to be clean. So just invest in it. Takes a lot of stress off you guys. You're so busy packing and pre-packing and thinking about all the other things, and it's easy just to hire somebody and kind of outsource that to them. So like I've already mentioned, I had this note on here, but I will reiterate because it's so important, is buyers are going to be looking really closely at all the things in your home. So the cleaner your home, the more appealing it's going to be. Buyers are already making mental lists of all the things that they're going to need to do when they first move into the home, that if they do see that the home also needs to be cleaned or there's stains in the carpet that need to be taken care of, they're gonna see your home as less of a value to them. And so the more prepared or more ready move-in ready that we can make your home, and if that just means a good quick clean or deep clean, I shouldn't say quick because we don't want it to be quick, we want it to be a good deep clean, then definitely recommend doing that. So all right, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to this week's Bless This Nest. Like I said, this whole month was dedicated towards the Home Seller Bootcamp. And I already mentioned at the very beginning, but if you guys do want a copy of that free guide, I did put it in the post above. What it is it's going to walk you through, like week 1, we went through the timeline, so that timeline is on there for you guys. Week 2, I talked about staging, so some of those staging tips are on there for you guys. And then today's information is also going to be on there in case you want that. This is an opportunity for you guys to ask questions or anything like that you have, but that guide is going to help you when you do get ready to prepare to buy, or sorry, I keep saying that, prepare to sell your home. So hopefully that guide helps. Just sign up for that and you'll get a copy of it immediately. So tune in next week. We're going to be talking about my 3-step process for making your home shine for showings. So this is all about getting your home ready and everything before we have photos done and everything else. So next week we'll talk about those 3 things that you could be doing to really prepare your home. So when people are actually in showing your home, we're doing photos and everything else. So stay tuned, or join me then at 11 a.m. next Thursday for Bless This Nest. If you guys have any more questions, thank you, Linda. Thank you for joining. I'm glad that you are getting a lot of information from these videos. Hopefully you're finding them super helpful. But if you guys do need anything else from me off camera, feel free to send us a message or send me an email. It's on our Modernist Real Estate page as well. I'm happy to help you guys any other way that I can, or answer any of the questions that you guys have. So hope you have an awesome Thursday, and I will see you guys next week.